Good evening, everybody. Today we are going to talk on a very important topic on why we get anger, what is its effect on our health and peace, how to overcome it to lead a peaceful life. So this is a very important thing which has got an impact on our health. Why we get anger? This is common to everybody, every human being who is having in this mundane world carrying on his duties in the day-to-day life. We come across at one time or other in the day, we get anger. What is the cause for anger? Mainly, anger is due to attachments and expectations. These are the important thing. Attachment to anything, object, person, or event. Attachments and expectations from them. And the third very important thing about the possessiveness on a particular object, person, or thing, or event. These are the factors responsible for anger. For instance, a husband has a possessive nature on the wife, and in this possessive nature only is cause for his doubting about his wife's fidelity, that even go to the extent of anger, getting excited to the extent of even committing murder. That is happening, we are seeing in the newspapers. So anger has got such a great repercussions on the mind. Similarly, a father expects his son to become an engineer or doctor, but the son has got his own vision, and son doesn't is not following the instructions of his father, and the father's expectation about the son is not, since he is not getting fulfilled, he get anger because his expectations not being fulfilled by the son. That leads to the anger. Similarly, a teacher gives a student a certain subjects, but student while taking the class, he just gossip and enjoy the time. So teacher gets anger over the student and he beats him and punishes him, not because he want to take vengeance against him. This anger is to see that the student should succeed in life. So this is also because of expectation that student, what he wants is the student should succeed, but he is not doing in the right path. So he get excited, and that is causing the anger. So expectations is the main cause for the anger. Possessiveness we have seen. The possessiveness has got a greater ramifications, especially relating to a person may even go to the extent of committing crime. So that all these things happens within our mind, because when we see an object is seen by eyes, it goes to the brain, and from brain it goes to the conscious mind. In the conscious mind, it gets the expected. Oh, this a boss is there. A boss is seeing the subordinate, and he gives the work. And in his mind, he has got that work in his mind. That is, he gives the work and he expects his subordinate to complete in 1 hour time. But he is not getting. By the time the 1 hour is reaching, in his subconscious mind, that 1 hour, as the time nears, his expectations goes up. And these expectations, once it is not fulfilled, he calls the subordinate and asks what happened. He says to complete. So immediately, when the time of his expectations reaches, at that time the work is not getting fulfilled, then immediately the mind excites, and the excitation is the cause for the bursting of anger. So these expectations take the mind to its intensity of the expectation. The more it goes toward the expected time, it by the time it is not reached, it gets excited. The excitation leads. These excitations, what happens? This is happening in the mind and the buddhi. When this excitation happens, manonmaya kosa, the buddhi lies in manonmaya kosa. When the excitation happens, what happens? The energy levels in the pranamaya kosa gets disturbed. And this when the energy in the pranamaya kosa, because anger is a negative reaction, so it disturbs the energy level negatively. When the energy level gets disturbed negatively, because normally when we get anger, our Manipura chakra gets excited. You see the fear or anger, first the Manipura chakra disturbed, because this is the place of our traits. So here that excites the entire energy levels in the entire chakras. When the energy level become negative, automatically these energies getting to the cells become negative. So it has got a longer ramifications on the health conditions. The more one get anger, the more get tense, the more get the anger may lead to different kinds of feelings in one person. So in that respect, we have to see what are the different anger. So anger can be classified as two things, self-anger and anger on others. Because we have expectations not only on others, we have expectation on ourselves itself. For instance, I have prepared the examination thoroughly and I went and write the examination. And in the examination, certain subjects, certain portion of the lessons which are tough, I left and I got the questions in that. And I could not be able to answer. When I saw the first question, immediately I got tense and I forgot all the other lessons. So I could not be able to answer the subjects thoroughly. I got the result and I failed. And this shows my inability to face the examination thoroughly. So what happens? It creates a self-anger on me. So my inability, my incapacity and my failures. So when you face failure, the result comes, everybody asks what happened. When you say you have failed or you have got less marks more than your expectations, automatically you get self-anger. Self-anger is the most dangerous thing. Self-anger may lead one to commit suicide also. That's why we see in many students, immediately after they get the public examination results, some of the students who are so weak mentally, the sense they could not face the people outside. So they get self-anger on themselves. The self-anger leads to self-dejection. Self-dejection may excite the mind to the extent of severing the body from Atma. So that is the kind of stage of suicide. So self-anger leads to suicide. The other is anger on others that we have seen. See, the anger of others, as I told you, as you have self-anger lead to self-dejection, lead to the suicide. The anger on others may even go to the extent of, mainly because of the possessive nature, may even go to the extent of committing murder. You see, here the suicide, there the murder. So anger has got the more negative effect on our body, on our psychology, on our conduct, character, everything. And in that we have to see two types of anger. What are that? Short-term anger and long-term anger. So what is short-term anger? Because we expect certain thing on the particular time when we expect the particular object or thing to be completed, and by the time when the time is reaching, the mind starts exciting, and at that time, specific time, if the expected thing happens, the mind gets calm, because it gets happiness and it gets calmed down. Suppose at the particular time when this expected event doesn't happen, the mind excites. So when it excites, the energy dissipates from us. That leads to degeneration of cell. That is the cause. Because once you do the same act again and again with this expectation, because every event has got expectations. So every time you get anger, every time you get self-dejection, self-anger, all these things happens in our body. And each time when we get this anger, self-dejection, it disturbs the energy levels in the pranamaya kosha, that is chakras, which leads to degeneration of cells in the physical body. That leads to the cause of various chronic diseases. So anger has got such an effect. Yes. But in case of short-term anger, once it gets excited, the energy is wasted. Okay, leave it. But subsequently, once you shout on the person, suppose the boss, he expected his subordinate to complete the work, he didn't do, and immediately he shouted at him. So afterwards, he realizes, he repents, oh, he has got certain limitations. So he's a new guy, and he has to gain experience, and let me teach him. Then he calls him and just consoles, because he feels repentant, guilty for shouting at him. Similarly, a father shouts at his son. Afterwards, the son gets dejected. He feels guilty. So he calls the son and says, no, you should not commit the mistake again. So like that, short-term anger, though get excited, it leads the person who excited, immediately he feels repenting, and then he calls the person and consoles, and the relationship may not be disturbed or a longer way. Moreover, and also, since it is a short term, the energy excitation ends at that level. So it will not have greater effect on the body. Whereas the other one is called long-term anger. What is the long-term anger? Suppose you expect certain thing and the person, because you are especially among the politicians, you are aiming for a position and we are taking the efforts to achieve that position. In the path, someone interferes and he try to pull you down not to get. So if you directly expose that and takes revenge against him, it will affect your prospects of getting that position. So what you will do? You will just hold, you just show love, smiling face on him, but internally you have a grudge, you have a great anger on him because he is disturbing you are going up in the ladder. So this anger continues to remain in the subconscious mind. It builds. What happens? This leads to how to take vengeance against him. He plans cunningly, crookedly. He feels jealous of him. If it takes somehow or other, you want to take vengeance against him, which does not affect his growth, and at the same time, he does these things without criminally he is getting caught inside. So like that, the long-term anger has got greater effect. It leads to so many other negative traits like cunning, crooked, jealous, hatredness, vengeance attitude, all these things. So here in long-term anger, in the subconscious mind, the continuous thought goes on, this anger, how to, until, because in short term it gets excited immediately. In long term, it continuously brood in the subconscious mind. What happens? This continuously disturbs the energy levels in the chakras, and it has got greater effect on the degeneration of cells on our physical body. So because this takes longer time to take vengeance and see that you, without affecting you, how you eliminate that person. Such is a great. Similarly, in many cases, husband-wife relationship also, we see a small thing will lead to continuous anger, and finally this long-term anger builds in us, and it may even go to the extent of going for divorce, and that has got an impact on the children's life and other things. So long-term anger is very dangerous. It not only disturbs the relationship, it not only disturbs peace in oneself, peace in the family, it also disturbs our health. So we have to see that how to avoid this anger, because we are living in this world for a very short time, and in this short time we have to live happily with peacefulness, not to fight with each other, not to find fault with ourselves, not to feel self-anger, not to feel anger against others. We have to remain all the time, whatever ups and downs in our life we come across, all the time we have to see our mind remains calm at all times. So for that, how we can able to overcome is, first we should know the theory of karma. That why we are born, why we are facing all these ups and downs, all these are nothing but the path of release of our karmas. So whatever you are supposed to do, whatever people with you get bonded, there you have to do your duties. There may be ups and downs, there may be deficiencies in the other person's capacity, but we should go in wavelength with them and see that we get this work done without ourselves getting excited. That's very important. So you are an experienced person, whereas a newcomer is coming, you can't expect the person with same experience as you. So you have to come down, make yourself wavelength match with him, and see that you make him to grow. Similarly, a teacher should see what is the different problems faced by the student, because he has got different levels of wavelength. You should go to that level of wavelength and see that you make friendship with him and then make him. Similarly, a father, you should see what his son needs, and you go to the level of his wavelength and see that you should act as a friend and see that his expectations and also the son's expectations are fulfilled. So there is a matching of wavelength, and there is a consensus in the thought, and everybody are happy. So our duty is to see that not our expectations are fulfilled. We have to see that we fulfill our duties to whomsoever it may concern, perfectly, with calmness. So that happens. When you fulfill your duties perfectly, your karmas get released. This is the truth. So for that, you have to keep your mind always in a state of Sthita Prajna. That's why, to keep it in the Sthita Prajna state, whatever past experiences, we have to first erase it. Negative experiences, we have to erase it. For that only, we have to regularly practice this Atma Samadhi Dhyana or any Dhyanam, so that you take your buddhi to the deep, supreme conscious state of mind where you get communion with the Supreme Soul. So that your mind always keeps inside, deep inside. If you see in the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean, the water is absolutely silent, absolute calm. Whereas at the top, all waves are passing. Similarly, when you remain on the top, each and every thought waves will disturb your peace, will create anger, jealousy. All these things will come. So you should. All these things are passing like passing clouds. You just go inside and remain always deep inside. So when you remain in because once you have you should have a clear picture that I am not this body, I am Atma. I have nothing to take with me. When I die, I can't take anything with me. Neither any object, item or person with me, nor any wealth with me, nor any anger. The spoiling of all the relationship will only add negative karma for me in my next life. By this anger, I am destroying my inner peace. I am destroying my energy levels in the pranamaya kosa. I am destroying my cells that leads to faster degeneration of this physical body, which I should avoid. So this kind of positive thought should be generated, which happens only when you take your buddhi to the deep inside. And how we can overcome this anger is mainly by doing every day the Atma Vicharana. That's why every day in the night I'm telling you, before going to sleep, just close your eyes and recapitulate all the events happened during the day and see how you reacted to each event. But whenever your reaction is negative by way of anger, that is the main thing. Anger is the base root for all other traits like jealousy, hatredness, all these things. You see that all these negative traits are released. So tomorrow, the night before going to bed, you take a resolution in this Atma, after doing this Atma Vicharana, that tomorrow when I face similar event, I should not get excited by this way. So when you get anger, at a particular moment, how you can able to overcome this anger is you have to awaken your Antaratma. Atma Vicharana, after that Antaratma. When the Antaratma is awakened, what happens next day when you face a similar situation and you begin to get anger, what you have to do is immediately close your eyes, then take a deep breath. Slowly leave this through this. Then again take a deep breath. Focus on your breath. Leave. So when you focus on this breath, you will leave your focus on the event and the excitation goes down. So you practice this breathing for 9 times. So by this time, what happens? Your mind excitation slowly settles down. So whenever you get anger, first you have to do is immediately before it get excited, you should see that you should not go to the excitation state before the time of excitation comes. Because when the boss is expecting the time work to be completed by 10 o'clock and the subordinate is not coming, means you should sit 9:45 itself, you should start doing this meditation, this breathing exercise. Whomsoever it may. When the father expects and the son doesn't reflect, before his expected time is coming, he just to close and take a deep breath so that the mind doesn't get excited. And while slowly closing, doing this, you should do Atma Vicharana, see that I should not get excited, I should not get excited. Just you keep it, bring your mind to the state of calmness and take 1 glass of water. So this keeps your mind and body cool at all times. So you will not get anger. Suppose if without your knowledge the mind get excited, don't show this anger, because once excited you cannot take back the energy. So that excitation, instead of showing on the person, because when you show the excitation on the person, the relationship spoils and they lead to a big fight. Suppose you are going in a car, suddenly an opposite car and person comes. He may be at fault, but when you say, hey, what is it come? Immediately he will shout at you. Both of them shout and there will be a big fight. So if you say, oh sorry, then his excitation comes down and smoothly everybody goes. Similarly, before that event happens, once you keep your mind cool, so that the excitation will spoil. But once it is excited, instead of showing on the person, you just turn towards the wall. Inside, go to a separate room, remain in solitude, face the wall and shout at the wall. So that the excited energy goes without, once you go and shout at the wall, the energy goes and hits the wall and reflects back to you. So that energy wasted by way of shouting will come back to you. Whereas if you shout at the other person, what happens? The energy goes to him and your energy gets dissipated. So At the same time, it also spoils the relationship. Don't do that. If you get anger and mind excites, then go inside a separate room, face the wall, shout at the wall. Go near the wall and shout at the wall, so that the energy going out will come back to you. So you are conserving the energy and without spoiling the relationship. So first of all, you have to see that you won't go to excitation by doing this pranayama before the time of your excitation. But if you fail to do this and the mind get excited, immediately don't shout at the person, go inside and do this before against the wall. So by this way, you can see that your relationship doesn't spoil, because once relationship spoils, it disturbs the peace in the family, peace in the office. All these things we can avoid, because our duty is see that we fulfill all our duties perfectly, so that we release our karmas. Ultimately, when you leave this world, when the Atma leaves the body, by that time we have to see maximum number of our accumulated karmas are released. For this, we have to do this regular practice of Atma Samadhidana, Atma Vicharana, and awakening the Antaratma, and see that before the anger comes, we have to do this pranayama to see that keep your mind calm. And even once you get excited, go inside the wall, don't shout at any person, go into solitude. So these are the simple ways how you can able to keep your mind cool, calm, collective at all times. See that you won't get anger. See that you remain always calm, cool, collective, and fulfill your duties perfectly, release your karma, and lead a successful, happy, contented, peaceful life. Thank you.